Remind me to press that before we start.
Good evening and welcome to Nosey Roads and Helens for this rearranged league fixture in the Stones Bitter League Championship. We're entertaining Bradford tonight. Now this game was rearranged from earlier on in the season. I think about the 17th of December was the original fixture, and it was rearranged, but unfortunately Saints rearranged once before, I should say. Saints couldn't raise a team. Consequently it went to the Rugby League, and Saints were fined £10,000, which has been reduced to 8. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge now, but Saints led out tonight by the matchday mascot, who is Colin Marsh. Young Colin there, he's only 7 years of age. He's out there with his favourites, talking to his dad before the game. He's no particular favourite player, but he likes them all. But his dad's favourite is Stuart Evans, Mighty Stuart, the ex-Welsh Rugby Union player. And he's certainly coming to the fore, Stuart Evans. The last 3 or 4 games, he's certainly been right in the thick of it. But as I said, Colin Marsh, he's out there, today's matchday mascot, 7 years of age. He attends St James Infant School at Haydock, up there towards pie-eating country. We've got to give the pie-eaters a mention, haven't we? They only just managed to scrape through 6 points to 4 on Sunday at Hull KR. Saints coming through at Bramley by 22 points to 14. Anyway, the team for tonight: Saints, number 1 Connolly, 2 Hunt, 3 Beavers, 4 Loughlin, 5 Quirk, 6 Holding, 7 Devine, 8 Evans, 9 Arkwright, 10 George Mann, 11 Farber, 12 Haggerty, 13 Cooper, 14 Bailey, 15 Jones. The Bradford side: number 1 Moxon, 2 Gill, 3 McGowan, 4 Marchant, 5 Simpson, 6 Mumby, 7 Harkin, 8 Skerritt, 9 Barraclough, 10 Tufts, 11 Wilson, 12 Hobbs, 13 Stewart, 14 Francis and 15 Hall. Today's matchday referee is Mr P Crashley from Wakefield. So we're out there centre field. Bradford captain there, looks like Mark Wilson, number 11. Shane Cooper for Saints, and today's matchday mascot, 7-year-old Colin Marsh, out there on the centre spot. Out there with his favourites. Saints are going to be playing up to the Eddington stand, and there's young Colin making his way over to the main stand side. No doubt he'll be meeting his dad there, a very proud dad for his son, the matchday mascot, this evening. So all ready for the kick-off. And away we go. Paul Loughlin gets us underway. Bradford there, strong running from them early on. Come up to the 25, it's Steve McGowan. Kelvin Skerritt, front row forward. Stuart Evans, well in there. With Bradford, they're going to employ the kicking game. Kicking downfield. Gary Conley takes it well. Anderson Gill going in very aggressively there. It's his debut match for the first team since he signed from Wigan. And he'll certainly, he's a showman, Gill. And he'll definitely be shown this evening if he comes up with tricks like that, won't he? I know the game's been delayed by half an hour with Bradford arriving late, and I reckon they should be fined £8,000 and given back to us, shouldn't they, for that? But it's Saints still in possession. Paul Farber running strong, brings it up to the halfway line. Phil Beavers moving up at dummy half. He brings it left. Saints spread it along the line. Devine, Cooper, lofted ball taken by Roy Haggerty. Sidestep tops one, tries to move it inside, but the ball's knocked down. Puts Bradford back in possession, and the Bradford man's taking a knock. Simon Tufts at dummy half. Well, David Hobbs, that's David Hobbs at 11, so Wilson must be number 12, contrary to what we've been given in the team changes. there. Saints come up with the first penalty of this evening's game. It's Paul Loughlin lofting it into touch on the Popular side. Play to start midway between the Bradford 25 and the halfway. Chris Arkwright on to Les Quirk to get us underway. Arkwright moving up again. Saints bring it to the right. Stuart Evans. As I said, he's been playing really well, Stuart. He took a knock at Lee. Come on with his knee heavily, his leg heavily strapped. Corber inside to Evans. Saints keep it going. On to Cooper. Back to Loughlin. Cooper was coming round for the loop, but Loughlin was well clamped there. Cooper again. Chris Arkwright looking for the half gap. Strong lad Arkwright filling in with the suspension to Paul Groves. It's the third of Groves' 3-match suspension tonight, so he's back in contention. Haggerty up the centre. He's back in contention for Sunday's match against Leeds. Well, I don't know what happened there. The referee, a knock on. Perhaps the Bradford man moved up very quickly, knocked it down. But Saints putting pressure on the Bradford outfit. They're 10 yards from the Bradford line. It's the first scrum of the match and it's Sean Devine to feed. Devine feeds it, he comes round to the back of the scrum and Saints are underway. Holding. And Cooper, Devine, lofted ball. Oh, he can't take it there. Too far. Lofted ball there for Alan Hunt on the far side, but it was too high and Hunt couldn't take it. It rolls into touch on the far side. So Bradford to feed. Harkin on the far side. Feeds the scrum. Bradford come up with possession, immediately knock on. Well, we shouldn't be having as many knock-ons and scrum downs as we did at McLaren Field on Sunday in the Cup. Playing a surface looks quite good. Not like a ploughed field on Sunday. Oh, Devine under the sticks. Brilliant move from the Saints. Right from the base of the scrum there. And Devine, he came through like an exorcist. Powered his way under the sticks and put Saints in the lead. 4 points to 0. Coming up with the ball from the scrum there, and Devine powered his way through, very sharp off the mark there, touchdown under the sticks. Devine's second try of the season with the Saints, and Paul Loughlin now is going for his 100th goal of the season. Shouldn't have any problem with it, should he? Bangs it right between the sticks, and that's Paul Loughlin's 100th goal for the Saints this season. Well, not for the Saints, he's got international goals in with that as well. Saints capitalising, scoring after just 4.5 minutes play. Put Saints into a 6 points to 0 lead. I know, talking to the Bradford video men up here, they've got a depleted side this evening. They've had to fill in with stopgap players, but we know all about that, don't we, here at St Helens? Saints set the ball on the far side, but solid tackling from Bradford. Stuart Evans, I think it was, and they forced him into touch on the far side. Scrum down with the Bradford feed just outside the Saints 25-yard line. Bradford come up with possession. Roger Simpson is it, so moving in. Bradford trying to thread the way through. Just evading a couple of tackles there. On the break, powers his way into the Bradford half. Quick play from the Saints, holding. Lofts it out to Beavers. Inside ball to Loughlin. Into space, Loughlin. Still going. Turns it inside. Oh, but Hobbs is there to take it. Connolly comes up and tackles him. Les Quirk as well, but Saints moving upfield there a full 50-odd yards. Well, he'd give a scrum there, the referee, and then he changed his mind. He said it had been snatched out of his hand. Snatched out of the Bradford man's hand. So Bradford awarded the penalty. What a break there, centre field from Roy Haggerty. It's Bradford, defined touch right on the halfway line. Glenn Barraclough to get things underway. Into passing by Bradford, it's Skerritt. Super tackle by Loughlin. Evans in as well. Barraclough there, well, they certainly looked to hint forward that as Simon Tufts came through. But it's Barraclough again, as is the norm. This Suka brings it blindside onto Hobbs. Prolific ball playing forward is Hobbs, and goal scorer. Parkin moves it left. Cooper in there, brings his man to a halt. Wilson at dummy half, and Bradford kick downfield. Alan Hunt there, can he just stop it before it goes into touch? It's gone in the end goal area and finally rolled into touch. So it's going to be a 25-yard tap restart for the Saints, but Bradford using the wind, employing it there to good effect. But unfortunately it went into touch out of the field of play. George Mann, block busting forward. Back at Bramley on the substitutes bench after a month out with ligament trouble. But Evans there turns in the tackle and Saints spread it quickly. Cooper, quick hands is essential. Haggerty, onto Beavers. Out there to Alan Hunt. Hurrying up this wing. Good tackling there from Bradford, and they force Hunt into touch in the Bradford 25. This young lad at fullback, Darren Moxon, he's only 18. It's his debut for the first team up for Bradford. He's a teammate in the Colts of Alan Hunt. But Bradford moved over there very quickly and completed the tackle after Saints had moved upfield a further 40 yards yet again. Bradford come up with possession from the scrum. Solid tackling from the Saints, containing Bradford up at that end, putting a lot of pressure on them in the early minutes. Nearly 10 minutes gone now, and the score still 6 points to 0 for the Saints, courtesy of a Sean Devine try goal by Paul Loughlin. Barraclough now brings the ball back, and here's the kick downfield. Good kick this time. Finds touch 10 yards inside the Saints 25, and that will take a lot of running, save a lot of running for these forwards. There's no danger. It's going to be a scrum down with a Saints feed, but anything can happen in these scrums these days. Two good solid packs there. Saints come up with possession. Devine nearly scampered through yet again. Well, that levels the scrums up at three apiece, I make it. It's Chris Arkwright there, moves it to the left. Cooper, George Mann again, into space. Watch this man go. Oh, inside ball to Connolly, but he couldn't take it. He knocks it down. He regathers it, but well, it looks as though he'd knocked it on, but he's saying he didn't. But Harkin there just having a word with referee Crashley. It's going to be a scrum down, but what a tremendous burst through from George Mann, this Kiwi prop. Harkin now to feed. Well, before he can feed, Saints penalised, not packing correctly. So Mumby in at standoff. Been with Bradford Northern quite a considerable number of seasons, Mumby. But from the resulting penalty, Bradford move up into the Saints 25. Barraclough on to Skerritt. Making yardage Bradford. Mumby. Well, what a tackle. George Mann crunches him down there, no problem. Barraclough again, Hobbs. Hobbs on the blind side, he turns it inside. And Barraclough's there again. Usually these hookers, they're always there and about, scampering through in loose play. Russell Stewart. Sixth and final tackle now. Harkin taking it centre field, trying to grubber it through. Hits the Saints man and another 6 tackles are awarded. So it's Moxon. Saints will have to withstand this Bradford pressure. Harkin kicked through, it touched the Saints man and came back into Bradford hands. But it's Skerritt trying to power his way for the line. Bradford trailing by 6 points to 0. Harkin again. Lofted ball. McGowan, you've got to watch this lad. He's a useful centre. He's still not grounded. Well, Saints were penalised for things like that at Bramley on Sunday. Mind you, different referee. Let's hope this one's better. The Barraclough again. Hobbs. Inside ball to McGowan, but Haggerty has him. Sixth and final tackle now. Will they have a go for a drop goal? Who knows? They need the points. Harkin again. Too deep? Well, yes. I was going to say too deep, but Bradford penalised for offside. But it was Les Quirk, I think, that got his foot to it as Henderson Kill was coming through. But there was offside, so Saints awarded the penalty. Paul Loughlin, good kick for him, finds touch against the wind, just outside the 25. Saints now moving it to the right. George Mann looking for support, flicks it backhanded to Devine. Devine's lost it. Going to be a scrum down. Two-man Bradford tackle and must have just wrenched it from Devine's hands. Harkin to feed. Bradford move it quickly, McGowan, but Loughlin brings him to ground. Henderson Gill at dummy half. Got to get into this fella, make sure he's tackled. He usually has about 3 tubs of lard all over his legs, but he must have cabbaged about 2 or 3 yards there. But it's Bradford moving into the Saints 25. Harkin again, moving it left. Solid tackling there. Well, I'm saying solid from Skerritt up to Stewart. He managed to break out of it. It looks as though he'd been well clamped. It was Bradford putting the pressure on. Harkin, lofted ball. Well taken there by Moxon. He does a bit of a shimmy and releases it. Back to McGowan, into space. Well, there was a massive gap there. A knock on, is it? Yes, a knock on, unfortunately there. McGowan, whether he flicked it back or it was knocked out of his hands, it came back and the Bradford did look like Barraclough going in to pick it up, but he knocked on. So it's Devine to feed. Certainly a pulsating game. Plenty of action. Only just a quarter of an hour of the game gone. Saints clearing the line and moving over there to the main stand side. Roy Haggerty in the early start of a testimonial season is Roy Haggerty, a worthwhile beneficiary, St Helens lad. Neil Holding is away from acting half-back, scampering through, Hunt on his right. Got plenty of Bradford cover, but he's moved upfield a good 40-odd yards there. Saints move it left. Phil Beavers takes it back inside, releases it to Sean Devine. He sees the gap, Devine. Good solid Bradford tackling as they get back on side now. Saints bring it blindside. George Mann. Sixth and final one for the Saints this time. Barber flings it inside. Devine. Quick hands from the Saints now. Unlucky there, Phil Beavers. But Roger Simpson. Oh, Connolly, super tackle from Connolly. Well, he doesn't like it. But Bradford play it quickly. Good tackle from Connolly, but Bradford, they're still playing it. Running hard, it's Wilson there. Back to Harkin. Lofted ball to Hobbs. On to McGowan, tackling it. Oh, a forward pass there to Gill. Yes, and rightly nearly so. But what a super tackle from Les Quirk. He came in on McGowan, and McGowan fed it forward to Henderson Gill. Plenty of vocal attention on Henderson Gill from the popular side here. Scrum down in the Saints 25, Divine to feed. Saints come up with possession, Bradford break very quickly there. Referee Crashley should have had the back row of Bradford pack there for offside, encroaching. Well, he's penalised him for offside this time. Hobbs, he's just confirming with the referee for what that penalty award was for. He's the captain. Well, Bradford should have been penalised at the scrum, but he did them at the play of the ball, and it's Les Quirk moving upfield. Arkwright, Stuart Evans, turning in the tackle, looking to release, but he's well clamped as Henderson Gill comes in. Divine, Agate coming on the burst from a Neil Holding pass, I think it was. Well, Neil Holding a dummy half. Barber. Yes, to Cooper. Cooper's into space. Loughlin there. Watch him go, Loughlin. Gives the dummy. Still driving upfield. Inside to Cooper. Yes, Farmer's there. Oh, superb. Superb rugby. Paul Farmer touches down 10 yards to the left of the stick. Goes in, he touches down for his 7th try of the season, and what a superb bit of teamwork for the Saints there. Started off there with Shane Cooper, he got out of the tackle, he fed it to Paul Loughlin, he powered through, and then the ball come back inside, and Cooper was involved again, and Paul Farber backing up, and that's what it's all about, backing up, and Farber was there, and he touched down, and put Saints a further 4 points into the lead, 10 points to 0 now. Superb teamwork and backing up, and this is the name of the game. This is what it's all about. Paul Loughlin there, composing himself, 15 yards out. Yes, well, they all count, don't they? In off the upright. And another 6 points to the Saints now, courtesy of Farber and Loughlin. So the score now, after 19 minutes play in the first half, 12 points to 0 in the Saints' favour. Quick hands from the Saints, they certainly look dangerous. They've moved upfield 40 or 50 yards on quite a few occasions. Bradford, they had a struggle on Sunday in the first round of the Challenge Cup at Canal Street Runcorn, just come through by 22 points to 12. And now they've got an away tie at the winners of tonight's replay between York and Fulham. But it's Saints in possession when he can finally get up and play it. Chris Arkwright's waiting to play the ball, to receive the ball, I should say. But it's Farber. Cooper. Neil Holding, positional kicking, diagonal grubber for touch. Is he going to carry? It is. Superb kick from Holding. Saves the Saints forwards, hell of a lot of running, and it finds touch on the Bradford 25. Well, as we probably know now, you all know that Saints have got an away tie in the second round of the Challenge Cup at Hull, the Boulevard. We have completed the double over Brian Smith's Hull this season, so they shouldn't hold any fears for us. It's a televised match. A week this Saturday, and the way Saints are playing, there's no reason why we shouldn't come through that with flying colours. We have a tough match tonight against Bradford, a tough home match on Sunday against Leeds, and put us in good stead for the second round cup tie. Hobbs, George Mann and Beavers bringing to a halt. Barraclough at dummy half. Bradford moving it infield. Solid tackling from Saints, moving up very quickly and looking very sharp. Bradford bringing it blindside, inside ball there from Harkin. But he's taken a knock in the tackle. But you've got to get in, and these playmakers there, usually the scrum halves. Scrum half, well, Hobbs is going to be one of the playmakers as well as Harkin. You've got to close them down, make sure the tackling counts. Super tackle there on Skerritt by Roy Haggerty. Just inside the Saints half. Bradford again, Hobbs, little chip through, well, tried to chip it through. Well, it touched Arkwright, unfortunately, went there, and Russell Stewart picking up the scraps. Inside ball to McGowan. Got to get hold of this fella, and Arkwright does. Tremendous tackle. Harkin again, centre field. Well, chickened out there, didn't he? Saw Connolly and curled up in a ball. But Bradford is still moving it. It's going to go dead, that. Well, push Connolly into the hoardings there. I should think so too. The touch judge is on the far side, and he should either be down the tunnel or get at least 10 minutes in the sin bin. He's just walking away, but he'll have to come back. Skerritt it is. He'll have to come back. Hobbs is over there on the far side, and Connolly's down on the deck. He's 10 minutes there. He showed the yellow card, and he's 10 minutes in the sin bin, and rightly so. Gill comes up with possession there, pinches the ball from the Saints. Barraclough trying to scamper through. Bradford down to 12 men for the next 10 minutes at least. Tufts well taken down. George Mann, Chris Arkwright and Roy Haggerty. But it's Bradford now trying to put the pressure on. It's Harkin. As I said, these little halfbacks, they certainly rule the roost, and you've got to get into them and make them know who's the boss. But it's Barraclough onto McGowan. Tackling's the name of the game, and they've got to make sure that they all count and don't give the opposition a chance to spread this ball. Sixth and final one. Hobbs. Lofted kick. Beavers is under it. I think Beavers has it. No, it's not. Sean Devine, is it? No, Neil Holding, I beg your pardon. Third time lucky. But Saints come away with it. Bradford down to 12 men. George Mann on the far side. Looking to break through, perhaps release to Alan Hunt, but solid tackling there. Cooper. Neil Holding, quick ball to Farber. Out to Lachlan, into space. Oh, tremendous break. Powering his... Well, Anderson Gill here. Forcing less quirk, but Saints still keep it moving. It's Devine. Out to Hunt. Oh, yes. Hunt in. Oh, he's coming in from behind the sticks. He touches it down there, but brilliant rugby. Brilliant rugby from the Saints, and another try. Well, virtually 75, 80-yard movement there from the Saints, with Alan Hunt finishing off with his 17th try of the season. He scored one in the under-21 international against France, in France, just a few weeks ago. He's 15 for the Saints, but he's 17 in total now, and what a superb try. But Paul Lachlan coming up this wing here, and Anderson Gill, professional foul on Les Quirk. He was holding Les Quirk all the way, but Saints turned it inside, and then Devine, and he lobbed it out to Alan Hunt, and he finished off in good style in that far corner. He didn't actually touch down, he came in field a bit, making the goal kick a little bit easier. Let's hope. And Paul Lachlan looking for his third of the evening. Strikes it well. No, it's away. Well, just that try from Hunt extends Saints lead to 16 points to nil. And what some good, some tremendous long-range movements we've had from the Saints this evening. get him over here, but I think he's going to get 10 minutes and all. That's the trouble when you're a poser, isn't it? But the referee obviously had spotted him. He let play go on. He played the advantage. He's just had a word with Henderson Gill. Well, he's not smiling now, is he? He receives plenty of attention from the popular side faithful here at Nosey Road. Here's a showman, he can take it, he doesn't care. Bradford kick off. Cooper takes it well, feeds it to Alan Hunt. Up to the 25. Solid tackling from Bradford. They try to take Hunt over and dump him into touch on the far side. But they're moving up very quickly. "28 minutes of the game gone, 16 points to 0 in the lead. Saints on the charge again. George Mann, Arkwright, Divine. Oh, Saints are running this Bradford side ragged. Saints on the rampage now. Watch him move upfield. George Mann shrugs the tattle off. Inside ball to Haggerty. And Saints keep spreading it. Oh, unlucky there. Just touches Chris Arkwright's fingers. He drops on the ball in disgust, but very unlucky there. Scrum down.
How many minutes?
12 minutes remaining of this first half. Saints with 16 points to 0 lead, but Bradford come up with possession from that scrum. It's the full-back Moxon linking up, making the extra man, but Laughlin brings him to the ground. Barraclough gets things underway to Russell Stewart. Tremendously exciting game. David Hobbs looking to release them, but well clamped by Neil Holding. Well, Harkin puts it down. Saints pick it up quickly, and it was Stuart Evans that moved in well by there. What a speed! He came in, he flicked it up, and Saints came away with it. Haggerty now. Cooper has to take it inside, back to Haggerty. Henderson Gill, McGowan and Hobbs there bring him to ground. Cooper restarts play, on to Evans, on to George Mann. Taking the tacklers on is George Mann, well, unlucky. Bradford all offside there, but Saints move it quickly. Neil Holding gives the dummy, feeds it inside. Oh, well taken by Arkwright, superb take. But Saints are not frightened of throwing it about. Barber and Holding work the loop movement onto Cooper. Gives the dummy out to Laughlin, back to Cooper. For a forward pass ruled. Yes, I must agree with him there. It's not so often I'll agree with the referee, but it certainly looked a forward pass. Scrum down just inside the Bradford half. Harkin to feed. Bradford come up with possession, move it quickly left. Mumby on the loop movement there with McGowan. Mumby again. McGowan coming in centre field. Big rangy lad this McGowan, and you've got to get a grip of him. Wilson, second row forward. I believe he is a centre or half-back, but he's drafted in the second row this evening I should say. Hobbs. For a super crunching tackle from Neil Holding. Bradford. Well, Saints penalised for offside. As Harkin went to kick it through, it wouldn't have found touch. So Bradford can count themselves lucky there. But Saints penalised for offside. Mumby just gaining further yardage. Finds touch 10 yards in the Saints 25. And it's Barraclough to restart. Harkin there, Barraclough again. On to Tufts. But Saints tackling, it's held firm so far, and there's no reason why it shouldn't do. Bradford put quite a lot of pressure on the Saints earlier on. But it's Hobbs there, wily old campaigner. He's the pack leader in the Bradford outfit. Harkin again. McGowan threading his way through. Saints keep him out. Chris Arkwright just looks as though he's took a knock in that tackle, but it's Hobbs again. Lofty ball, yes, good ball there, into space. And second row, Wilson goes in for a try. But good pressure there from Bradford. He's flung it to the right and the big gap emerged. Wilson took it safely, and all he had to do was just touch it down. So Bradford in for the first points of the evening, 16 points to 4 at present. David Hobbs, prolific goal scorer. He used to be with the Featherstone club, now here at Bradford Northern. Good ball playing forward and looking to extend the Bradford score to 6 points. So there's Hobbs. Oh, it's going to the left. Took it away, goes to the left of the sticks, so the score still remains at 16 points to 4. 7 minutes of the half remaining. And Bradford should be back to the full complement now. He's here just coming out of the dugout. Skerritt. Served his 10 minutes in the sin bin. A pointless 10 minutes as regards Bradford. Pushed Conley into the hoardings after the ball had gone dead. But Saints kick off, and Roger Simpson brings the ball up to the 25. Harkin again. He's the hub of things, Harkin and Hobbs. But it's Barraclough at dummy half. On to the try scorer, Wilson. On to Hobbs again. Kicks it downfield, Alan Hunt going back, but he can't stop it. Tremendous kick from Hobbs, right down into the Saints 25, and finds touch midway between the try line and the 25-yard line. Scrum down now with Sean Devine to feed. Bradford just easing out on the scrums. Now 7-5. As that one came out, he was quickly round, wasn't he? Must have been a hint of offside, but it's Hobbs driving for the line. Puts the Saints under further pressure. Harkin along the line. Marchant, this ex-Castleford centre. Well, he's touched the Saints player and it's a Moxon. Unlucky there. Marchant, he lofted it up. It touched Les Quirk. And Moxon, this 18-year-old debutant fullback, goes in for his first try with the senior team. So Moxon there goes in, reduces the deficit to Bradford to 16 points to 8 at present, and just a hint of luck there, but you certainly need luck in the game, don't you? But Bradford putting the pressure on. They took one against the head on the far side after that tremendous kick from Hobbs. They won the scrum, even though he did look a bit offside, but they spread it quickly over to this right-hand side, the popular side here at Nosey Road. Marchant looked as though he was going in. He didn't make it. He flicked it up. It touched Les Quirk, and Moxon was there. He gathered it safely and touched down. So 16 points to 8, and Hobbs again, similar position from the last attempt, perhaps just a bit more towards this popular side touchline. Looks good this time. Yes, he's made the correct allowances, and Bradford are back in with a shout, aren't they? 16 points to 10, and about 5 minutes of the first half remaining. So after a 16-point to nil lead, and Bradford hitting back there twice in 3 minutes with tries from Wilson and Moxon, the latter goal by Hobbs. Loughlin kicks it deep. Bradford playing with the breeze. But it's Barraclough there. Is that Skerritt coming through? Well marshalled there, and Barraclough brings it blindside. Hobbs again. kicks it downfield. Les Quirk has to turn round. Well, it's gone directly into touch, so the ball's going to be brought back to the place where it was kicked. Scrum down to be formed with the Saints' feed, and it's Saints, possibly Saints' last chance to put pressure on Bradford in this first half. But Devine wins the ball. Well, he broke quickly again, and he's letting him get away with it, this referee Crashley. Number 12 and 13 there. Stewart and Wilson bring Devine down. Disgrace. Cooper, get things underway. On to George Mann. Diagonal run. Turning through is George Mann. Brought down just short of the Bradford 25. Arkwright breaks the... well, I thought he'd just broke the tackle, but Bradford moving up very quickly. Neil Holding, Paul Farber. Inside ball to Loughlin, looking sharp again. Picked up the Man of the Match award, the Silk Cup Man of the Match at Bramley on Sunday. A well-worthy recipient, and he's looking very sharp tonight, isn't he? Sixth and final tackle, Beavers. Still going is Beavers. Oh, he's brought down in possession, 10 yards short of the line. It's going to be the first changeover of this evening's proceedings. Bradford get it underway. They try breaking quickly. Solid Saints tackling. Saints will have to hold them, but you can bet the ball will be going to Hobbs in the next tackle or so for the kick downfield. 2 minutes remaining. Well, up to the 25 of Bradford, but this ball a bit there's Hobbs, well positioned. He's going to be fed by Barraclough. No, they elect to run it. Quick hands, McGowan on to Gill. Well, a forward pass being given. Gill stands there in amazement. Well, he doesn't like it. Pushes Devine off. Another scrum for the Saints now to win, hopefully. Well, it's come out. Quick hands, Les Quirk. Oh, it looks as though he just had to go through there, Quirk. The penalty to the Saints for holding down Stewart, and rightly so. They've done it on numerous occasions, but Saints will go for the goal, surely. In the dying minute now of the first half. And Bradford penalised there for holding Les Quirk down. The big gap emerged and Quirk was going through. Then the defence, the cover defence came in, brought him down. He wanted to get up for a quick play of the ball, but Bradford thought different. He was kept down on the ground, and referee Crashley moved in and awarded Saints the penalty. So a chance now for Paul Loughlin to extend Saints' lead to 18 points to 10. And I don't think we'll have time to restart after he's popped this one between the sticks. There he goes, right between the sticks. 18 points to 10, and we're playing in added time now. There's been very little stoppage time. Well, there's the hooter. I didn't think we'd have time to restart. But at half-time, it's 18 points to 10. Saints amassing a 16 points to 0 lead, courtesy of Sean Devine, Paul Farber and Alan Hunt. 2 goals from Paul Loughlin, and then in the space of 3 minutes, Bradford hit back with tries from Wilson and Moxton, goal by Hobbs. Paul Loughlin just finishing off there in the 39th minute with a penalty goal. So at half-time here at Knowsley Road, 18 points to St Helens, 10 to Bradford.
That was a good run, that, wasn't it? Right? Do you notice that? When you throw.
With you now for the second half of the Stones Bitter League Championship clash. Saints in the lead at half times by 18 points to 10. Bradford looking to do the double over the Saints. Well, if you remember, we lost at Oddsall 28 points to 18 after being down 22 points to 4 at one spell, and then tries from Cooper and Bailey, 3 Loughlin goals, and it was all in the melting pot at 22-18. But then with the line at his mercy, unfortunately Paul Groves couldn't take the ball, and then McGowan went in for a try converted by Hobbs, and that sealed it at 28-18. But they come back from 16 points to 0 down to 18 points to 10 at half time, and Mumby gets us underway. Substitute forward on for Bradford at half time, Steve Hill. But it's Saints moving it quickly, Divine, and Saints, well, temper's getting a little frayed there. Skerritt again, is it? I mean, he's been in the sin bin once. Saints have been awarded the penalty. What have you got to do to this fella? He's being dragged away, he still doesn't like it. He threw a punch there, surely. And he's been in the sin bin once. Well, how many times have you got to warn this fella? Saints awarded a penalty. Chris Arkwright's going to restart play just outside the Bradford 25. Evans brings it up. He'll bet Skerritt will keep away from him, won't he? Arkwright, inside ball. Sean Divine, well clamped there by Skerritt. And Simon Tufts. Saints move it left, George Mann, but solid tackling, David Hobbs and Russell Stewart. Well, incorrect lining at the play of the ball there from Bradford, but not going noticed by referee Crashley. Gary Connolly, centre field, up to the Bradford 25. Well, going in aggressively again. Haggerty, short ball, driving through. Saints moving upfield very quickly, 15 yards from the Bradford line. Saints still in possession, it's the 6th and final tackle. Well, the Bradford man lying on, Haggerty can't get up. Well, Shane Cooper, Farber, turns it inside, Saints keep it going. Neil Holding, crossfield rubber, but well taken there by Hall. Steve Hall, the substitute forward. And Barraclough at dummy half. Barraclough from acting half-back. Well, he's at it again, Skerritt. He's just laying punches into Roy Haggerty there. Haggerty was trying to hold him at bay, and Skerritt going in again. That's twice in quick succession, and he should be down the tunnel, this man. There's no danger. Haggerty taken on suspicion, and then Skerritt just flayed into him with a succession of punches. Referee there just receiving his report from his touch judge. But David Hobbs is listening, and Shane Cooper's there. And he sent him off, and it's rightly so. Saints awarded a penalty and Skerritt's off on the touch judge's intervention, and they're abusing the touch judge there, but Saints take the tap quickly. George Mann. So Bradford down to 12 men for the rest of this game. Squeeze into the corner, just goes into touch there. Very unlucky. But Skerritt there, he was abused. Well, something else happened now. Two players down. Touch judge on the far side there. But Skerritt, as he's just been sent off, he was abusing both the touch judge on this side and the referee. And I'm sure that'll go in the referee's report. But he's already had 10 minutes in bin. Well, Saints awarded another penalty. Bradford misdemeanour again. And it's Paul Loughlin that took a knock there. Skerritt sent off for 10 minutes in the first half. Then he threw a punch at Stuart Evans early in the second half. But a couple of minutes later, he was marched from the field of play because he went in unprovoked on Roy Haggerty. He took Haggerty on suspicion and then just laid into him. The Bradford coach, Ron Willey, the Australian coach there, he'll have got them fired up at half-time, especially with them coming back from a 16 points to nil deficit. But they're down to 12 men for the remainder of the game. Paul Loughlin now with a chance to extend Saints' lead and get his 4th goal of the evening. Just inside the 25, strikes it well, yes, it's a beauty, right between the uprights. So Paul Loughlin bangs his 4th of the evening over, and certainly a lot of ill discipline from the Bradford outfit there, and it's resulted in Skerritt being sent off. Bradford kick off, Alan Hunt gathers it. So both of these teams tonight was involved in preliminary rounds. Saints playing Castleford here at Nosey Road, and Bradford they played Leeds. And both Leeds and Castleford were knocked out in the preliminary round, and I'm sure this won't happen again next season. There'll definitely be a change in the Rugby League ruling as regards the preliminary rounds. Saints break quickly. Loughlin goes down to a Barraclough tackle, but Saints moving it very quickly, looking really sharp. Neil Holding using the breeze, and rightly so, Bradford did. They peppered us in the first half, didn't they? But it's not going to roll into touch, it just curls in. Moxon gathers it. Saints defence moves in very quickly. Pressure on the far side. Saints try to take the Bradford man. It's only Henderson Gill, isn't it? He's getting a little aggrieved. I'm sure we can show him the way down the tunnel as well, but Saints are penalised. Obviously hanging on to Henderson Gill on the far side. Well, after the Bramley match in the mud, where I thought that both of Bramley's tries looked a bit suspicious, but after watching it again on scrum down on the evening, there was nothing wrong with them. But just from our position, they looked into a double movement from the first one, and then it didn't look as though he'd took it over. He grounded sharp for the second one, but I was wrong at that time. But I do make mistakes, and so do the referees. But still a good result. Saints stuck to the task and came through well. But it's Bradford in possession. Harkin, positional kicking, good grubber through. Finds touch 5 yards short of the Saints 25. Scrum down with the Saints feed. But we must remember that Bradford are down to just 12 men. Indiscipline there from Kelvin Skerritt. Saints come up with possession. Gary Connolly. As Bradford move in very quickly. Holding. Shane Cooper, lofty ball to Beavers. Steps out to one tackle, flings it back in field. Les Quirk takes it well. Russell Stewart's chasing him, but Quirk sees him off. But Simpson comes in, his opposite number. Haggerty, centre field. Nearly up to the halfway line. Just over 8 minutes gone. Holding. Saints in the lead, 20 points to 10. And Bradford moving up exceptionally quickly, as they have done all the match. But it's come back to Saints, a further 6 tackles, that should be. He waved them off in the first half for Saints. Well, you can see or hear what the Saints faithful think of that. When Bradford were putting the pressure on, it was only the same thing. Paul Loughlin lofts it downfield, puts the pressure on Moxon. He can't take it, but has he touched it? This is what we ask. He has to take it in his in-goal area. He has to play it. He beats one man. Got the second line of defence, but he's being forced back. Yes, forced back over the try line. Solid tackling there. Neil Holding and Les Quirk. So Bradford forced to drop out from between the sticks. Tremendous pressure there from the Saints. He did well, Moxon. He took it in his in goal earlier. He beat the first line of defence, but solid tackling there. Just bundled him back over the line. Put Saints back in possession. Farber takes it well. Drives up. Oh, still powering forward, Farber. Takes it up to the 10-yard line. 25-yard burst there from Paul Farber. Saints moving left. Neil Holding. Onto George Mann. Block-busting forward. Onto Connolly. Yes! Is he over? Double movement's given. I thought he'd slid over with it, but double movement given. Referee right on the job there, so no complaints. But George Mann block-busting through, and Connolly backing up. But unlucky there, the Saints, and Bradford come up with a penalty. No complaints there, referee Crashley right on the job. We couldn't see very well from our position here, or I couldn't. You might get a better view on your video, but I'm watching the game and it's different than what you're seeing on your monitor. But Bradford in possession, just outside their own 25. Solid tackling from the Saints. Certainly the tackling in the last 3 or 4 games has improved 100%. Well, Saints in possession, but both the touch judges are on for an infringement centre field. I'd followed the ball, I didn't see what had happened. But certainly quite a few incidents in this second half. Both touch judges reporting to referee Crashley. It's Paul Farber that's been spoken to, and Bradford are awarded the penalty. Keith Mumby with the ball in his hands. Going to kick over to the main stand side. "12 minutes of the second half gone. Saints in the lead by 20 points to 10. Bradford just moving upfield, 15 yards there, courtesy of a penalty award. But it's Hobbs trying to get his side going. It's Hobbs and Harkin that are the danger men. You've got to control these two. They are down to 12 men with Skerritt being sent off, but there's Harkin onto McGowan. Got to have two or three men at the tackles for the Saints, one round the legs, one clamping him round the top, but it's Harkin onto Mumby. Veteran campaigner Mumby, usually the full-back, but in at the standoff berth for this evening's match. Harkin grubbers it through. Good positional kicking, made 10 or 15 yards to the right, saw the gap and grubbered it through. Finds touch 10 yards in the Saints 25. Scrum down to be formed with Saints feed. The Saints come up with it, Sean Devine. Saints breaking quickly. Lofty ball onto Phil Beavers from Neil Holding. McGowan and Wilson quickly in there. Cooper, Haggerty reads it back inside to Cooper, and Saints are underway. Gill there, but George Mann going over to him. Mann still in possession. Solid tackling from Bradford. Usually the case when they're reduced by 1 man, they have to tackle all that harder, and they seem to run harder as well. Lovely flick ball from Arkwright. Farber locks a good one out to Beavers. Alan Hunt comes inside, he can't take it, but he regathers the ball. Unlucky there. Hunt coming inside as Beavers released it, but it just touched Hunt's fingertips. A scrum to be formed just inside the Saints half, and it's a Bradford feed this time. Harkin to feed. Well, oh, now I don't believe it. He's penalised the Saints for coming round and tackling Harkin, and Bradford have been doing it all the match. You've had Stewart and Wilson, and they've been coming round, jumping out of the pack and doing nothing else, and the man has the cheek to penalise the Saints this time. Unbelievable. moving upfield. Barraclough now to receive. Bradford moving it right, but number 10 there, Tubbs, he went in with the elbow on Evans. That was clear from our position here. He's slow getting up. Harkin. McGowan into space. Good tackling from Saints. Connolly slowed him down. Well, he's cabbaging McGowan. Roger Simpson. Oh no, Henderson Gill, I beg your pardon. Right colour, wrong player. But it's Gill now, attacking halfback. Harkin, well, look to hint forward even from this position. But it's Gill again. Bradford, they're trying to spread it out. But they're being forced back, the ball's released. Play allowed to go on. But Bradford, well tackled, is it the changeover? The changeover rule, yes. Wilson doesn't like it, but he's going to have to suffer it. Well, Hobbs throws it down in disgust. That's sportsmanship for you, isn't it? But Hunt plays it. Evans at dummy half. Saints move it to the left. Quick hands, Haggerty. Oh, tremendous sidestep. Feeds inside to Loughlin. Into space now. Coming in field is Loughlin. Oh, he's still going. He's still going. Oh, holding. Oh, yes. Right under the sticks. What a superb try. He's given crossing, has he? Well, he took his time about that, didn't he? He'd let it go, holding under the sticks, and then he must have had a brainwave, and he's changed his mind. Well, he's wrong there, Holding and Loughlin running the Bradford defence ragged. And he touched down, and then he changed his mind. Bad decision there, referee Crashley. So Bradford come up with a penalty. The Bradford video cameraman is telling me his obstruction. I didn't expect him to say anything else coming from Bradford. I don't agree with him, but that's besides the point. Bradford have been awarded the penalty and they're in possession and they're 10 yards from the halfway line. Barraclough on to Hall. Bradford moving it again. Harkin, but you've got to get it well. Forward pass there onto Stewart. Hall again. Bradford moving it to the right. Solid tackling. Saints will have to stick to it. Sixth and final one now. So Bradford, they're going to hoist it, are they? Or are they going to elect to run it? Harkin moves it to the right. Hobbs, grubbers for touch. Finds touch in the Saints 25. But it's Saints there. They put a tremendous amount of pressure on Bradford, and Loughlin tearing down there. Loughlin and Holding, they run them ragged. But the referee changed his mind. Saints come up with the ball again. Sean Devine. "18 minutes into the second half, still the score's 20 points to 10. And I don't think Bradford have won a scrum in this second half yet. Saints with 3 clean heels. Neil Holding, scampering away from acting halfback. Inside ball there to Roy Haggerty. Oh, unlucky there. Work on his outside and Haggerty couldn't release it. Cooper, forward. Saints are running hard, aren't they? On to Connolly. Oh, yes, only the full-back to beat. The ball's loose, but he's bundled into touch on the far side. But tremendous rugby from the Saints. Moving 50-odd yards upfield again. So we're at the Bradford end now in their 25. Scrum down with a Bradford feed this time. Saints now with 4 wins on the trot and looking for a 5th tonight and looking good value for the money so far. Two Challenge Cup wins and 2 league wins, but penalised at the scrum. Offside, I think he's given offside again. Well, my word, Bradford have been getting away with it all the first half, and now he's just had a change of heart. He must have his Bradford head on for this second half. They find touch on their own 25. Barraclough attacking half-back. Wilson, oh no, it's Russell Stewart though, just getting back on side. He's just been treated for a knock he's taken just earlier on in the game. But it's Hall trying to power his way through. Haggerty and Cooper bring him to ground, and Harkin is at dummy half. He brings it left to Tufts, but he's lost the ball. Cooper goes down for it. Well, Bradford did come up with it, but the initial knock-on from Bradford is going to be ruled, I would imagine, and Sean Devine is going to feed the scrum. Getting quite breezy now up here on our podium, but Devine feeds the scrum, Saints come up with possession. Beavers moving cross-field. Mumby brings him down, tackles him well. George Mann running hard. Solid tackling from Bradford. Cooper getting his team underway. Lofted ball, well taken by Haggerty. Well, the ball must have spilled, and Haggerty's got it back. But Bradford making a substitution now, with Richard Francis coming on to replace number 12 Wilson. Harkin feeds and Bradford come up with possession. Moxon in the line. Neil Holding comes in to tackle him. Well, it's Harkin again. McGowan on to Gill. Well bundled down, well marshalled on the far side. But Bradford moving 20 yards upfield. Harkin again, short ball to Hall. Is it Evans that brings him down? Solid tackle from Stuart Evans. Here's this man Harkin. Reverse ball to Barraclough. Bradford back it up. Stewart is it? Yes, it's Stewart. Connolly tries to relieve him of it, but he sticks hold of it. And it's Bradford now putting the charge on. Harkin kicks it through. Connolly takes it well. Welcoming committee on the far side. They certainly got up there very quickly, didn't they? Loughlin again. Oh, unlucky there. But second tackle there. Tufts going in as second tackle. The man was on the ground. George Mann into space. Keeper's with him. Oh, tremendous sidestep. And he's still powering his way upfield. 40-yard burst there from Kiwi George Mann. Shane Cooper taking up the running. Onto Les Quirk. 20 yards now from the Bradford try line. Saints on the rampage. Well, Quirk can't get up. Cooper along the line. Haggerty. Sixth and final tackle now. 10 yards from the Bradford line. Right in front of the sticks. Well, does he give the changeover? I don't know what he's given there. Wrong play of the ball. He's given an illegal play of the ball there, and he just give the changeover, obviously. And Bradford moving very quickly. Relieve, that's took a bit of the pressure. Bradford coming up with 7 penalties to 3 in this second half. Quick ball onto Mumby there. Short, crisp pass and nearly put him through a gap. But it's Harkin jiggling with the ball. Onto Stewart. He's brought down. A good tackle by Shane Cooper. But it's Tufts taking up the running. Bradford moving upfield again. It's certainly end-to-end stuff, isn't it? Just that one Paul Loughlin penalty goal, the only scoring of this second half. And we're in the last quarter with about 17 minutes remaining. Russell Stewart, inside ball to Mumby. The ball, Mumby sticks hold and Farber tackles him. Hobbs with the up and under, putting the pressure on the Saints. Connolly comes in for it. But the ball's gone down, has it? Bradford have possession. Another 6 tackles for them to make it count. And they're only about 8 yards short of the Saints line. Tufts along the line, gives the dummy, straightens up. Powers his way up to the Saints line, but Barraclough there at the acting half back onto Russell Stewart. Goes in low, tries to dive towards the line. Harkin, he's hanging about there, he's going to be the pivot here. Back inside to Simpson. It's only a little lad, tries to weave his way through. No way through for him, but it's Bradford. Hobbs Putting the pressure on, Hobbs releases it. Does he? I thought he had, no. Sixth and final tattle, and Saints have withstood the pressure there. Barraclough, Harkin there. He's got the ball, lofted pass, Loughlin intercepts it. Oh, unlucky there. He just couldn't release it to Quirk. That was on the sixth tattle, and Bradford had to do something. But Loughlin there, 6'3", and he towered above there and caught that ball and puts Saints back in possession. Certainly moving offside. In fact, it's a toss-up whether they've been onside all the match, this Bradford outfit. Roy Haggerty, sidestepping his way through, flicks it back to George Mann. Farber, out to Stuart Evans. Inside ball to Beavers, lovely ball there. Onto Devine, into space. Still jinking about, he did well. Russell Stewart there. Head tackle when the man was clamped. But Stuart Evans is taking a knock down here. He needs some attention. But Bradford there, they get the ball from the play the ball. And it's Barraclough trying to scamper through. So Saints temporarily reduced. Oh no, Evans is back on, but the substitution's going to have to be made. Stuart Evans, he must have taken a knock. The Saints are back in possession. Roy Haggerty powers his way through, looking for support, turns in the tackle. Farber's there, but Barraclough clamps him, and he can't release it. George Mann had a good game as George Mann. He flicks it to Cooper. Cooper gives the dummy, has to take the tattle of Tufts. Arkwright at dummy half. Saints bring it right. Gary Connolly sidestepping his way through, and he's brought down midway between the Bradford 25 and the halfway line. Arkwright, Saints bring it blindside. Sean Devine, Grubbers for touch. Finds touch midway between the Bradford 25 and their own try line. And Saints make a substitution now with Stuart Evans coming off and Paul Jones coming on. Tremendous game for Evans, but he must have took a knock. He come over to the bench immediately and he's been replaced. Bradford come up with possession. Richard Francis going cross-field, but he's had the ball taken off him. Phil Beavers, it is, moves in very quickly. Puts Saints back on the charge. Cooper. Good play from the Saints, and they've got to make it count now. Jones, first touch. Short ball to Loughlin, yes! Forward pass, has he ruled? I think he has. Yes, I think he's given a forward pass. Well, I don't know what's... Yes, they're going to form a scrum on the far side. So that's another try that we've had disallowed. But good play from Saints there, broke very quickly. Especially after Beavers taking the ball off Roger Simpson as he come cross-field. But Bradford Joe taking over to the far side. He releases the ball before he's forced into touch. But it's Henderson Gill. Got to get in there and get this man down. Solid tackling. Chris Arkwright well in there with Neil Holding. Bradford trying to scamper through from acting half-back position, but no way through for him. 12 minutes of time remaining, 20 points to 10 the score. Just that 5th minute Paul Loughlin penalty goal, the scoring in this second half. Harkin, short ball to McGowan, but well clamped there, well read. Loughlin moved in and read it beautifully there. He's had a good game tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't come up with the sponsors man of the match for tonight's game. Gary Connolly, out of one tackle, still going, centre field. Neil Holding from acting half-back. Feeds it inside. Haggerty looking for runners. But it's Holding again, and Bradford moving up very quickly. Cooper, Jones. Pushes one off, striding through. Oh, Jones, watch him go. Fresh man, moves up 15, 20 yards there. Puts Saints in with a sniff now. 20 yards of the try line. Cooper, Loughlin, Beavers. Well, the ball going down, it's going to be a knock-on. Unlucky, the floated ball over to Beavers, he couldn't take it. I bet Bradford are glad. But it's a scrum down, Bradford feed. 15 yards from the Bradford line. From the 3rd minute of the second half, Bradford have been down to 12 men. One against the head there for the Saints, Alan Hunt. Saints going to move it quickly to the left, I would imagine. Hunt finally allowed to play it. Neil Holding, Gary Connolly, sees the gap, straightens up, does Connolly. 10 yards now, more or less in front of the sticks. Saints putting the pressure on. 2 or 3 times we've been down here and come away with nothing. Haggerty flicks it back inside to Jones. Keeps hold, flicks it to Beavers. Out to Cooper, inside ball to Farber. It's going through plenty of hands, but Bradford is sticking to the task and they're coming up with the tackling. Cooper now. Feeds it back inside, Devine gathers it. Well, no he doesn't. Bradford man comes up with it. So just one pass too many there for the Saints and Bradford come up with possession. Hobbs. Tufts there at the back, but it's Barraclough that steps up. Onto Roger Simpson, is it? Yes, Roger Simpson in the centre, and they've got Richard Francis on the wing. Well, no damage done there as Hunt and Simpson were just having a little altercation. But it's McGowan moving it across, trying to create space by moving diagonally, but solid tackling. He's taken down on the far side, Devine and Paul Loughlin. Bradford kick upfield. It bounces kindly, and Gary Connolly comes up with it. Les Quirk was back there, but Connolly moves up centre field. He has to take the tattle of Glenn Barraclough and Steve Hall. But it's Haggerty now, builds up head of steam, drives up centre field, right into the Bradford defence. Certainly a tough second half. It's Haggerty again. Bradford urged back, but they've not been onside all the match. Tufts again, but Farber evades him, he goes in centre field. Brought down on the 25. He didn't think he was tackled, but he had to play the ball there, and it's Cooper now. Inside ball to George Mann. Flicks it out to Jones, sits, ready to the left. Farber, inside to Haggerty. Threading his way through, feeds it back to Devine. He has to take the tackle. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have a go for drop here, really, to relieve the pressure. But it's Jones at dummy half. To Neil Holding, there's Holding. Oh, it touches the post, and it's all on. Hobbs, he has to get back there and kick it dead very quickly. Well, it was well worth a try, wasn't it? It came to Neil Holding, it hit the post, and it bounced to the left. And Hobbs had to move very sharply and kick it dead. So Bradford, they have to restart from between the posts. Mumby it is that drops out. Saints getting bundled up there, 3 men there, Connolly, Jones and Quirk. Neither of them knew which one was going to take it, and they certainly made a hash of that, didn't they? For want of a few better words than I could probably think of. But we wouldn't be able to put on the air. But it's a scrum down just in the Saints half when Saints should have been attacking. Saints come up with it. Well, Paul Loughlin there, named as the sponsors man of the match, and rightly so. He's had a superb game. It's Bradford in possession. McGowan, he gets up. He's finally brought down just short of the Saints 25. Harkin spreads it left, but solid tackling. The ball's loose. Well, I don't know what was happening there. The ball was loose, it was up for grabs. Cooper looks as though he was going in for it, and then the referee came in, so I don't know. It's a scrum down. Saints feed. So Bradford, it must have been loose. Cooper was trying to grab it, he looked as though he was a little impeded. The ball there, Divine comes round. Breaks quickly, feeds it on to Holding. Out to Beavers. Back to Neil Holding. Just stuttered a bit there as Neil Holding juggled with the ball. But it's Saints back in possession. It's certainly been a tight game for both sides this second half. George Mann, Paul Farber, Alan Hunt, hurling down the wing. Good play from Hunt. Oh, just forced into touch. Is that what they call black power? Both Roger Simpson and Richard Francis bundling Alan Hunt in at the wing. In at the touch, I should say. This flamboyant wingman Alan Hunt. Well, he's forced into touch. Harkin with the feed of the scrum. Time running out now for Bradford. Just 5 minutes remaining, but it's Harkin. Feeds the ball inside to Barraclough. Bradford are trailing by 10 points. It's still 20 points to 10. And a loose ball. It's tidied up by Bradford. But it's going to be a scrum down with the Saints feed as Shane Cooper comes in and completes the tackle on McGowan. Divine comes up with the ball. Loughlin coming in on the diagonal. George Mann, Jones, stretching his legs, Jones, oh, sidesteps, is he going to touch down under the sticks? Oh, just to the left, superb try from Jones there, and that wraps it up for tonight, doesn't it? George Mann blockbusting through, but Jones come on to a lovely ball, and he powered his way there. He's a fresh man. He just come on to replace Stuart Evans, and there was no mistake in there. He knew where the line was, and he was going to get his try, wasn't he? That's his second try of the season for the Saints, and that certainly seals it. I don't think Bradford could come back from 20 points to 10, but it's 24 points to 10 now, and Paul Loughlin's conversion to come. Loughlin there, no problem, bangs it over. 26 points to 10 the score. 4 tries and 5 goals. And just 3 minutes of time remaining. So Sean Devine coming off and Mark Bailey just giving a run for the last few minutes. Bradford kick off. Alan Hunt gathers it. Going crossfield. Looking for the gap, but gets the sandwich there of Hall. Well, it looks as though he's impeded a bit. Looks as though Hobbs had a snatch at it, but the referee doesn't agree with him. And a scrum down to be formed. Harkin to feed. 2 minutes remaining, and Bradford's last chance to get points, more points on the board. Mumby and Harkin work the loop movement, but Cooper brings him down. Roger Simpson attacked in half-back, trying to scamper through, no way through for him. Solid tackling. Shade sticking to the task. 3 quick tackles on the trot there. Bailey getting in the action very quickly, but Simpson trying to scamper through. Given a roving commission there. Moving in field. Hobbs onto Tufts. Well, he throws the ball away, and Alan Hunt says thank you very much. And Richard Francis just completes the tackle. Chris Arkwright from acting half-back. Grits his teeth, powers his ways. Both the Bradford substitutes there, Hall and Francis, try to force him into touch. Neil Holding inside to Cooper. Grubbers it through, well. Fouled by Hobbs. Cooper saw the big hole there, he tried to grubber it through, but Hobbs brought him down. Saints are awarded a penalty. Well, by making that's only Saints' fourth penalty in this second half, whereas Bradford have had 8. But from the resulting kick downfield, Saints move up to the Bradford line. Time running out. Only about a minute of normal time remaining as Hunt's brought down just on the Bradford 25. George Mann on a bullocking run, out to Forber, looking for support, inside to Neil Holding, on to Mark Bailey, yes! Bailey finishes off in good style, what a tremendous try! Mark Bailey finishes off in good style there. 3 or 4 pair of hands it went through, and Bailey, fresh man, coming onto the ball, running hard onto the ball. He took it well, and nobody was going to stop him from touching down right between the sticks. 30 points to 10 now, and as soon as Loughlin's kicked this goal, that'll the final hooter will go, I can assure you. No further time. We're just on the 40th minute there as Bailey scored. That makes it 6 tries, no, beg your pardon, 5 tries for the Saints, and it's going to be 6 goals when Loughlin pops this over, isn't it? There he goes, slots it right between the sticks, 32 points to 10, Loughlin's 6th of the evening. There's the final hooter, just as I said, I didn't think we'd have time to restart, but an emphatic win for the Saints tonight after a slow start in the second half. 18 points to 10 it was at half time. Then after 5 minutes, Paul Loughlin with a penalty goal, and that extended Saints lead to 20 points to 10. And then it was cut and thrust, both teams going from end to end. Saints having a couple of tries ruled out for infringements and what have you. But it was 4 minutes before the final hooter when Jones, the substitute forward for Stuart Evans, came on. He powered his way just to the left of the sticks. That was converted by Loughlin. And then just in the last minute, Mark Bailey, the substitute back, just come on to replace Sean Devine. He came through on the burst and touchdown right between the sticks. That was converted by Loughlin to the final score here at Nosey Road, 32 points to 10. And we look forward to another tough encounter here at Nosey Road next Sunday when Saints entertain Leeds. They are out of the cup, they're looking for league points, and so I hope you'll join us again. So thanks and good night.